Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you're watching another live edition of the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short, your daily dose of geek news, reviews, and answers that you can use. Like an answer to the question, why are you streaming an hour earlier today than your normal time? That's because Diana's going to the ophthalmologist. I think I said that right. Maybe I didn't. Hon? Well, I guess I'll find out later. Today is Friday. That means it's an AM answering your questions, and I love doing that. It's like if I could figure out how to do that more frequently, I would. There's just not enough time in the day to answer all the questions that I'm being asked on a regular basis that aren't necessarily repetitive. So, thank you for continuing to ask questions. I've got a couple things I want to show you before diving in to the questions that were asked today. Patrons do get priority on Monday. Everybody else gets priority in the Facebook, the open Facebook thread, so to speak. And I may actually dive into the open Facebook thread as this particular broadcast continues. So, first, I want to try to address something. I'm sorry, I missed this person's name, but this person was rather upset because most of my videos seem to be long. And he wants shorter videos. I'm like, well, I do shorter videos. The CPU episodes and the classic YouTube channel. Short, edited, punchy. Those are short videos. That's what you're looking for. So I'm already doing the thing that someone says I'm not doing. These videos here in the Geek Lifestyles channel are going to be long. If you don't like long videos, if you don't like hearing me or anybody talk at any length of time, this is probably not the channel for you. The other channel is likely the channel for you. So, before the questions, I have a letter, and I didn't want to read it because it was so... I mean, I read it, but didn't want to read it out loud because it seemed so personal. It's from Gary and Lynn, a.k.a. Reviews by Gary. Let me go ahead and fold that over. Oh, wait. Got to make sure everybody here is getting credit. So, I was very happy to get this letter, more so than even other bits of things that I didn't have. These two Star Wars video games, I believe both for the PC. We have the entire saga right here of the Lego Star Wars universe, or at least that I know of, everything that they did. Yeah, we seem to have prequels as well as the original trilogy in here in this video game. And this one, neither one of these I played. I played a little bit Lego Star Wars, but not a lot. If I were to get into it again, it'd probably be on iOS. But Force Unleashed right here, didn't play that. Looks to be rather fantastic. And yes, Darth Vader is in that video game as well. Quite nice. So these are very nice to have in my collection, and I appreciate these. I will treasure these always. Thank you, Gary and Lynn. And now I can hold it up since I want to make sure everyone back here got the credit they deserve. If you're listening to the podcast, I was basically just showing the the presentation of our patrons. So, or at least some of them. Okay, now you get to see where you can find Gary right there online. Reviews by Gary. And I don't know if his counterpart, Lynn, also has a handle or they go in together, but he's pretty much Reviews by Gary on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you for these gifts. They're absolutely wonderful. I will treasure them for always because A, I didn't have them, and B, because they're quite collectible. And so thank you for that. Speaking of collectibles, for those of you who were wondering, I'm gonna do something here that I didn't think I would do, but I'm gonna do it. I know it's an AMA. I know it is. It's just that I only have like 5 questions to answer necessarily right now up front. And I wanted to further tease a CPU episode I'm going to be doing, I believe, next week. It's on the schedule as I unfold this checklist of sorts. Lego Minifigures Series 13 is out. I have the entire series, yes indeedy do, right here in front of me. And included in this series are a unicorn. We also have a creature that looks a lot like Cthulhu, a fencer, and a disco female, because this would be a follow-up to the disco male that was released in an earlier series. Some other interesting characters, but I think those are really the standout ones. The unicorn being one, Cthulhu being the other, and the other one is the one I'm going to actually assemble for you here, live, right now. The hot dog guy. Yeah, check this out. Okay, here are his pants and his body. Pretty plain, pretty simple, right there, this minifigure. But then you put on his head, and he magically transforms into a hot dog. Do you see that? He's a hot dog. Okay. Now he's a hot dog. It's a hot dog guy. Hot dog, hot dog, hot diggity dog, hot dog, hot dog, hot diggity dog. I'm a hot dog guy as a Lego minifigure. I'm gonna go ahead and get on my stand and let Chris Pirillo continue with TLDR and not annoy the hell out of everybody. Hot dog guy. I love hot dog guy. I'm not even a huge fan of hot dogs in general, but I'm gonna put hot dog guy right here for now. You can see him if you want, I think. He's small to begin with, but he's even smaller there. Wow. It's like minuscule. Ah, the fun of directing and producing and doing all sorts of things on my own during these live broadcasts. I get to have fun. Hopefully you're having fun too. Brian H. asks, I finally started using Windows Remote Assistance for my Windows 7 machine. And I'm new to the whole port forwarding thing in regard to internet security. Do you have any recommendations as far as security goes? I just don't want to get hijacked. Thanks. Oh boy. Talk about shifting gears here. I feel like I just dropped my transmission. Okay. I need to refresh myself with some water. Okay. As far as port forwarding goes, yes, you can do it. Yes, complexities can arise. Do you really need to get back to your computer? That's my first question for you. It may be possible. Maybe you've got something on that computer you need to get back to. If you do not need to remotely get to your computer, don't open yourself up to a potential problem. And that could very well turn into a problem. Yes, you might be able to get port forwarding going, on your router, and say, well, when this bit of information or this packet comes in, directed to this computer and this port, and you've got everything as secure as possible. But ultimately, the best security is not opening any ports that you don't need to open. Bottom line. And I honestly, more than anything, as I know a lot of people have been smartifying their home, I've actually been going through and dumbifying it. I've been dumbing down my home in as many ways as I possibly can. Because my concern is security, right? You never know what you're opening yourself up to. And even when you go as far as to lock everything down, that still doesn't mean that someone with a means and a method to do it isn't going to necessarily exploit you. So I know you don't want to get, you said hijacked. I don't know what you mean by that. But yeah, effectively, you're sending data, and packets over the internet. Well, something could very well happen. So if you don't have to do it, don't. I have actually been pushing harder and harder to the point where, I may store data and backup data on site and then, of course, store it off site. I've gotten to the point where I don't want to be reliant on any one machine, any one device. I don't want to use just that device. I want to be having the flexibility of being able to move between machines, if only so that I don't have to open up ports like that to get back to a machine. Diana has moved to the point where she's no longer using a traditional desktop system, even a laptop. So I'm happy about that. She's pretty much just gone mobile. It makes it easier to manage in a home network environment, or really any kind of environment. And security is definitely one of those things that's top of mind these days. So in terms of being new to the port forwarding things, if you're forwarding the port accurately and if things are getting to where you think they need to go, apart from diving deeper and monitoring what's happening on your home network, which you may very well do, my recommendation is, as far as security goes, is do you really need access? Because if you don't do it. If you want, I would even go as far as to say maybe you could rent a Windows 7 machine that isn't on your home network and get access to it remotely, but it's not anything that's tied into your home network security, so that you could get to it from anywhere without necessarily violating what it is that you've set up at home. So my suggestion is that. And hopefully I explained it as best I could. You may ask Jerry, although he's not much of a networking guy either. There are definitely people who could speak much more deeply as to on that topic, but I don't think anybody would disagree with that high-level advice of, if you don't need to do it, don't do it. Mitchell C. McClendon asks, Chris, I noticed that your mother uses a MacBook Pro while your father mostly uses his Windows computer. How does she feel about Windows 10 and Windows operating systems in general? Thanks. Mitchell, great question. This past week, we uploaded the dad using Windows 10 for the first time video to the classic channel that as a CPU episode. I think it's going fairly well. The feedback, at least from some comments that I saw initially, were positive. I didn't expect dad was going to have a problem with Windows 10 at all, even at the technical preview level. So I was really happy to see that. It turned out the way I expected it to, much like his now famous Windows 8 video turned out like I expected it to. So she doesn't have any feelings about Windows 10 because she hasn't used it, and I don't think she will. For the longest time, mom and dad had the same computer, used the same computer at home, and mom just decided because she liked her iPhone that she might also like OS 10, and for the most part, she does. I can't say that she's using it to its full potential. I think mom is one of those people who would be just as well served by an iPad than a Mac, or as compared to a Mac. So I don't know if Windows 10 would be a good move for her at all. It would probably over-complexify things, because you can make them complex, but over-complexifying them. So she has no feelings towards Windows 10. I don't know if I would necessarily foist it upon her either. It would be overkill for her. She doesn't need what Windows provides. Most people don't. Dad still kind of does. He still likes using Office apps, but once he starts realizing that that is really available on just about any platform, including Android, he's probably going to start migrating away from Windows as well, because he uses his iPhone and his iPad probably more frequently than he uses his PCs. So, Dad just got used to Windows, and that's what he got used to, and he uses Word and Excel, primarily Excel. I don't really know what else to say about that, apart from I don't know if he really needs to be tethered to Windows anymore, just like most users don't need to be tethered to Windows. And I would say the same thing about Mac. It's not about slamming Microsoft. It's not about slamming PCs. I think MacBook Pro for my mom, is it a Pro or a regular? I can't remember. A MacBook in general, I think at this stage is overkill for my mom. I think she'd be just as well served by an iPad. Certainly with the new Photos app, which we talked about at length yesterday, with the release of the new versions of OS 10 coming down the pike. It's just the idea of being able to get to your things and manage your things in one spot and seeing them everywhere. And I think that's really going to be a game changer for her, because she still manages Photos and she still uses a variety of services to keep things going. So I think she's going to be happy with it, so long as Apple's able to keep up. Microsoft's got their own thing going with OneDrive, and it's great too. I don't want to compare apples to oranges here. But that's kind of an explanation as to the question that you're asking, or at least kind of trying to speak through it in general. Next, Earl Green. Earl, I love you. You are one of the most amazing people that I have in my community. I'm very, very grateful for every email you send me, because he always sends a stack of stories. Two stories I said I'd talk about today, but it may very well be Tuesday, because Friday's AMA and Monday is AMA in the schedule. So apparently he's writing in relation to a Brian Williams story, noting that he was mercilessly razzed on Twitter for misremembering and not actually being on a helicopter hit by RPGs. Earl was in broadcast journalism. He took that major in college, at least, and journalism used to be an honorable profession. But Earl, is deeply appalled at the overall sorry state of broadcast, specifically television journalism these days. Where have the ethics and integrity gone, I wonder? This is not really a topic that I've talked about in depth. I've mentioned several times over, I'm not a journalist. I hate being called a journalist, because I know there are better journalists out there. We did relate the story of the AP using robots to write stories, and I think that's a better future for journalism, because it's really removing all bias from what journalism and reporting a story, could have if it was done by a human. Humans are biased. To accuse someone of being biased is like accusing them of being human. It's actually you're doing them a favor. You're biased. I'm like, well, thank you. I'm human. I appreciate you recognizing that I'm human. Thank you for that. See, they mean it another way. They mean to slam you. The next time you see someone, here's the thing. The next time you see someone accuse someone else of being biased, or if someone accuses you of being biased, just say thank you. And explain to them that they're basically calling you or this other person a human being. It's a good thing. Where is it gone? This is... It's an interesting topic, because so much of us out there, so many of us, recognize what we want to see and what we want to follow in news. And the waters have been muddied. It's no longer just a select few reporting information. It's no longer just a select few in charge of facts. Anybody can report. Anybody can, put it out there. And I recognized even early on, when the internet was just beginning, that bloggers were doing a better job at reporting facts much more accurately than journalists. Journalists were paid to cover a story, whereas a blogger may not be. I may pay attention to Earl if he's not being paid to cover a story versus a journalist who may not understand a topic as intimately as Earl might. And this is a big thing for me, because it's not just transparency, it's just understanding how a reporter trained on reporting and reporting facts, when I watch TV, listen to a radio, read the paper, even look at online articles, it's obvious when someone doesn't know what it is that they're reporting. And they're a journalist. So in a day and age when you got to get the story out there, where there are a lot of there are many things, or a lot of things that are going to pull attention away from the things that you do, we've gone into the realm of sensationalism. We've gone into the realm of fighting for page views rather than for quality. And unfortunately, people's jobs are on the line. Idealistically, it wouldn't be that way. Idealistically, the best story would win, but it never works out that way. And journalism is right there in the crosshairs. Newspapers have gone out of business. Radio stations have gone out of business. Traditional outlets that used to be, I guess the basis for journalism, have had problems with finances because the market changed. Ad markets had, more money, but more places to spend that money. And we had way more things to pay attention to, so they had to adjust accordingly. So their tactics had to change as well. This is what happens. So if you're looking for ethics and integrity, my recommendation is don't just turn to a large entity. You can, but, follow someone over time. And you get to know them for everything that they are, and their own biases, and recognizing that everybody has their own shortcomings, but you will begin to realize that they may understand a topic at a deep level, or they may not. Follow experts in the field. Don't just follow journalists. Follow journalists who always report what you believe is closer to your code of ethics. Follow them directly. Don't follow the entities that they work for. Okay? That's a big deal. So that's where the ethics and integrity have gone. They haven't necessarily gone away. It's just that ethics and integrity can't necessarily be found in larger institutions anymore. So, yeah. And again, that's a blanket statement. I'm not, pointing fingers at anybody. I'm not even pointing fingers at anything or at Brian Williams directly. I've got no beef with him because I don't know anything about this entire story. So, follow people. Don't follow entities. And I think you're going to find that's where ethics in journalism remains with individuals. Jacob Harrington asks, my question is, and I hope this don't happen for a long time, but when your dogs pass away, what will you do? Jacob, oh my, why you gotta, wait, man, talking about shifting gears again. Hang on. Oh, yeah, that'll be a very sad day. I love Wicket and Pixie. They're obviously a part of my life as a part of the vlogs. I still involve them. I don't know. There was a service that I may end up spending money on where you can take their cremated remains. It's very awkward to talk about this, but to take their cremated remains, their ashes, and send it into a service, and they will compress it into a gem, like a gem. So I'm thinking about basically doing that and having them preserved, or what they brought to this world as a gem. It may be very expensive to do, but it's something that I would like to have and that I would treasure, and that would be a part of my life. As long as they were a part of my life, they can continue to be a part of my life and a beautiful part of my life. As they are beautiful dogs. I love them. I love them deeply. They frustrate me sometimes, but that is the game plan. I told them, and they're okay with it. They don't plan on going away anytime soon. Tony asks, question number 15. He's been going on 14 questions now. Did you ever start working out again? No. I want to. I'm planning on getting the Apple Watch. That's my plan. And hopefully with that, I'll track better what I'm doing, and that'll be a motivation to get a point score thing and do it in a geeky fashion. I know, they have fitness trackers, and I know, everything else, blah, blah, blah. This is what I want to do. That's my plan. If you don't want to get an Apple Watch, congratulations, you have a different brain than I do. Now, moving on, he said P90 apparently is this thing. He says it's a complete home workout, doesn't require all the equipment you need at a gym. He's been doing a number of their series, and he's in the best shape of his life. If you can't find the willpower or time, just do it for being able to live long enough to see your grandkids. Isn't that kind of intense? I'm not into those intense workouts. I think if anything, it'd be like a personal training kind of thing. Like I'd, figure out how to target what I need to do to stay healthy. Yeah, I don't know, P90. There's so many fitness programs. I just don't want to buy into a system. I just, just very simple stuff, as I've done in the past, and it's worked out very, very well, and I've been happy for it. So I know I need to get started again. Thank you for the recommendation. That's not really a question outright, but he did ask if I got started again, and I plan on it with the Apple Watch. Question number 16. Since you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, would you be interested in creating a channel dedicated entirely to Star Wars? You can add additional details to the canon story that wasn't in the movies, like Lord of the Rings books versus the movies. Have weekly... we will see. So there we go. He's also asking about TagJag, asking how it works. You're asking about the free point system. So you head over to two different URLs, go.tagjag.com/free apps and go.tagjag.com/free points. You can earn free Amazon gift cards, iTunes gift cards, etc. And why I walked over here to grab my phone is because I wanted to show you an app that I got for free. I earned this app using the free points service. That was go.tagjag.com/free points. There's a service that you can basically get a paid app for free. Actually isn't. Yeah, it looks a little less gritty and grainy. Of course, it's a digital photo, but Hydra is an app that is normally like $3 right now. Worth $3, worth $6 really, and I got it for free. You exchanging my points. So I don't know how it works. They just track you using sponsored applications somehow, and magically points show up in your account, and then you can exchange those points for other things. You could ask them how it works. They'd be able to explain it to you, no doubt about it. I've been using them for a few years now, and I'm very happy to continue to do so, if only because it's a way to get paid apps for free. Just exchange points. And Amazon gift cards and iTunes gift cards. You can also earn an iPad mini, and I think they're still doing a Nexus 7 promo too. So you can get either one of those. Let me check here. I'll load it up and check my... Oh, there it is. I gotta find it. I got so many icons on this dang thing. I've definitely gone as longer than I was expecting to go, which is good. Although, why is this crashing? It is definitely not happy there. Let me go ahead and try to kill it. Now we'll try to relaunch it. Sometimes that's what you got to do in iOS. Oh, still crashing. Okie dokie. Well, I guess I'm not going to open it up to show you. Just imagine that's what you can do right now. Joe Toshji. He may have just asked this question for this thread. Hey, Chris, how do you manage the photos and videos you take on the iPhone? Also, how is the frozen cereal? I have the frozen cereal. That will be a CPU episode. It's like a fun food, and I'll have a fun drink to accompany that. That... at some point in the future. I mean, there's a lot that I'd like to be able to do, and I'm just kind of stacking it accordingly. That may be a snack next week to try the frozen cereal. Fun. I'm not going to... See, that's the thing. I'm not going to launch a separate cereal channel. I'm not going to launch a separate... I mean, because I've launched 34 different channels and get meh traction across all of them. People are confused now with the various channels. But the thing is, I can't put long-form live video content, daily content, side by side with edited video content. Some people want the long stuff. Some people want the short stuff. I can't win. Maybe one day I'll figure out the right formula. Maybe. If I'm lucky. So, yeah, that's really the plan for the frozen cereal. And the first part of the question, Joe, I missed that. I got water on my fingerprint, so I'm having issues unlocking. There we go. Let's just do it this way. He asked, how do I manage the photos and videos? A variety of ways. I back up, of course, but most of the photos and videos I do, and I think I mentioned this in TLDR yesterday, they're usually on social. So Instagram is really Instagram, or Facebook, or Twitter. Flickr. It's a nice way of having, duplicate content in ways that I can manage it and not have to worry about it going away. I tend to take a lot of pictures, but I save just one good one. That's all I need. I may take 74, but I just save one good one. I'm not really much of a picture taker on a regular basis. I try to, if I find something that I think is amazing, I'll take a picture of it. I may take a picture of Hot Dog Guy. That'll be awesome to have. I love following toy photographers. Poops Tech emailed me, and he was surprised I wasn't following him back on Twitter. I don't follow a lot of people back because a lot of people don't necessarily post the things that I'm interested in. Usually those are the people I follow. Usually, not always. Like if you're doing amazing things and you're part of amazing projects, I will likely potentially follow you if I'm interested or fascinated with what it is that you're doing. But I can't follow everybody. So, God, you've really got me thinking, man. Tony, I love you and I hate you at the same time. Oh, if I launch a separate Star Wars channel, is that going to work? I don't want to do it if it's not going to work. I'm already handling so much. I don't know what to do. Welcome to my frustration. I'm doing my best for everybody. I really am. Patrons, my super nomies, all my nomies. If you're watching this, you are one of my nomies. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your patience. I do appreciate it. I'm still stumbling upon a formula that is going to work, not just for you, but for me as well. And that's not always easy. It really genuinely is not. I don't know if I've got a solution for that. I really genuinely don't, but I'm working on it. I am working on it. Thank you for your patience. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up, move on to the patron hangout. And I know, again, this was early, but Diana was heading off to the Octomomagist. So I'm going to go ahead and... that's a thing, right? The Octomomagist? At least I think it's a thing. Man. What do I title this video? Should I launch a separate Star Wars channel? Maybe I should. Maybe that's the answer. Who knows? Thanks again for tuning in. At this point, however, I'm going... Oh, I should tell you, before I close it out, I do love you. I do appreciate you. Now, at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices.